I'm going to read you something that was an experience I had, and it was also something that is written in a book, which is a good book. Success. 6 of discs. Number 6, Tifereth, as before, represents the full harmonious establishment of the energy of the element, and the element is silver. Moon in Taurus rules the card, and this while increasing the approach to perfection. For the moon is exalted in Taurus, and therefore in her highest form marks that the condition is transient. The discs are arranged in the form of the hexagram, which is shown in skeleton. In the center blushes and glows the light rose matter of dawn, and without are 3 concentric circles, golden matter, golden yellow, salmon pink, and amber. These colors show Tifereth fully realized on Earth. It reaffirms in form what was mathematically set forth in describing the ace. The planets are arranged in accordance with their usual attribution, but they are only shown as disks irradiated by the sun in their center. The sun is idolized as the rose and cross. The rose has 49 petals, the interplay of the 7 with the 7. So I thought it was pretty interesting, and a good change. 2 of discs. The number 2 Chakma here rules in a suit pertaining to Earth. It shows a type of energy appropriate to 2. In its most fixed form, according to the doctrine that change is the support of stability. The card is called Change, and its celestial rulers are Jupiter and Capricornus. And these symbols are most inharmonious, so that in practical matters, the good fortune of Jupiter is very limited. Their influence in the card is not great, yet Jupiter being himself the wheel at 2x, he emphasizes that idea. The card represents 2 pentacles, one above the other. They are the Chinese symbols of the yin and the yang, and the yang and the yin, duplicated as in the xiang. One wheel is dextro and the other label rotatory. They thus represent the harmonious interplay of the 4 elements in constant movement. One may in fact consider the card as the picture of the complete manifested universe. In respect of its dynamics, about them is entwined a green serpent, his tail in his mouth. He forms the figure 8, the symbol of the infinite, the equation 0 equals 2. So that's very significant to a dream that I had. 2 of them, 2 dreams, 2 discs, 2 dreams, 2 spheres that had passed through my subconscious life. One was a long time ago. Come to think of it, there was 1 and there was 2, which is 3. 1 was that I was in Santa Fe and I was walking on the roofs of the houses picking up fruits. I was 19 years old when I had that dream. That was 20-something years ago. I went to Santa Fe for the first time 3 years ago actually. Yeah, about 3 years ago. And walked on the roof and forgotten all about the dream until I walked on the roof and said, I had a dream about this. 2 dreams. One dream, I was in my room by myself and a green snake bit the seat of my soul, is what it is interpreted as. The green snake being a creature of Venus. The second dream, or third, was the orange and the green snake. The orange and the green snake are symbolic of Yesod. Yesod was not only the angel and the master of healing, and many different books that you can look up and probably find his name in lots of different books. So in the dream, the orange snake. Well, this would be the fourth dream. Fourth dream. I was walking through a jungle, and there was two palm trees, and each one had a snake in it, a boa constrictor. They were completely not threatened by me, so they just kept doing what they were doing. Didn't bother me, mess with me at all. So I went to the back of the house in the jungle. There was a guy sitting there. I walked closer. It was not a guy. It was an empty hollow shell of a guy. The guy that the shell was come and talk to me. And as I looked to the back door of the house, the orange snake was winding upwards, listening to my song. The green and the orange snake being perfectly isometrical and balanced means healing is attainable. So in many ways, I'd never really read this book until recently. This book had been in my consciousness somehow without ever having read the book. This goes for many books that I have read throughout my life. Well, in the last 5 or 6 years of my life, that I realized reflected into the past from now till I was a kid. So the books weren't really that relevant as far as I already had that knowledge somewhere within my consciousness. Now, it's significant of this time because Thoth, the Egyptian god Thoth, said, expand from your solar plexus chakra while using your heart chakra, which is orange or yellow and green, going from your yellow chakra, which is the solar plexus, to the root chakra, which is red. You can regenerate. So I never knew that, orange, red being like the green and orange snake. The snakes being a current of energy. It has no demonic or evil connection. The snake is symbolic of a channel of energy. Like when you see something moving really fast, it has something following it. It's the same thing. It has nothing to do with anything evil. Native Americans also look at the snake as a guardian spirit, or there are many different forms of that. So I thought it was something that was pretty good idea to share stuff like that with my channel that I'm trying to create as far as an internet channel. And by the way, I'm going to say this one last thing before I shut this video off and get some rest. There are no rules with what it is what I just said. There are no rules, there are no laws of karma. None of that applies to the world that you live in when you dream, when you sleep. That is a very personal, sacred thing to any human being. I want to say that and make that clear because I am not the one who ever projected myself into anybody's dreams. I've had people project into my dreams, and whether they confirm it or, acknowledge it, I don't care. You know what I mean? I've had a few pretty terrible dreams based on somebody that I'd never met. So I don't hold somebody accountable for that because I know how that works. It could have been anything, you know what I mean? So anyway, that has nothing to do with any of that. And I want to make that clear when I make this video because nothing that I have been putting on the internet has any reason or need to create a negative or chaotic energy. I was never seeking to do that in the first place. If it did, that was somebody else's interpretation of what happened through my work or my life or my writing or whatever it is. So again, I'm saying that because I want to make that clear to people. If they want to accuse or insinuate things with whatever it is that I put on the internet in the past, that's on you. I didn't do that. If you want to create some kind of negative out of something I said, go do it by yourself. Okay? They've done that to me a few times already, and these are words out of a book, words out of my mouth. However you interpret someone speaking, that's your business. You know what I mean? Don't come to me with some kind of false interpretation of my own words and try to accuse me of something that I didn't do. You know what I mean? I would not ever do that to you. I want to make that clear also. I have never done that to a person because I know how it feels. So I would never do that. Anyway, that is a pretty relevant thing as far as those 2 or 3 dreams or whatever. The 4 dreams actually makes more sense because 4 is also a sacred number. 4 has been known to be one of the most ancient numbers. As far as the Cubit stone of Yesod is also a very ancient thing. So, to me personally, I think it's awesome. I was actually 3/4 of the way with writing a book that I was going to publish that is involving that cube, the Cubit stone. So I thought that, I take notes. I can not even put this on the internet and save it for my book so I can remember it and write it down later to finish a chapter of that book, which is my intention to make it a 7 to 8 series set of books. And you can read them however you want. If you want to call them fiction and they're just entertaining, cool. If you want to make them something that they might help you more with, then that's cool too. I am not in conflict or at odds or debating with other people who see things differently. I am trying to create something because I'm an artist. So I thought, that's pretty cool. I wanted to say those 3 or 4 different dreams as far as in relation to a book I wrote 15 years ago that I don't really have. I still remember it because my memory's coming back a little bit. Which was a guy who was basically a warrior. In the book the original book I wrote, he was a warrior, and he was homeless because of the life that he chose to live in the book. So again, before I shut this video off, I want to make that clear. It was a book. It was not a reflection of my life. It wasn't a reflection of anyone else's life. It was a book I was trying to create. After listening to the other guy on his video about how he wrote a book and he ended up living his book, I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm going to make that clear to whatever keeps doing that. Don't ever do that. That was not fun for me. That was not cool. I did not will for that. I had no intention for that to happen. It has stopped in the last 6 months. It has stopped when I write something down and someone takes off with one of my books and stuff starts happening. As I said, I did not do that. Okay, if every one of those books had stayed with me, those things wouldn't have happened. So, again, I'm not upset, I'm not angry, I don't hold grudges, I'm not resentful. I'm saying all this to make sure that it doesn't happen again. A man cannot be successful with his gifts when the things that he does artistically become some kind of like strange thing. I have no connection to people that do that. I do not want any connection to people that do that. If it has to be that way, because those kind of people just don't really care if something happens or whatever, they don't. You know what I mean? They think it's fucking entertaining or something. So I don't want those people around me. You know what I'm saying? If you wrote something, whoever you are, and it kind of weaved its way into your life, the best thing I could tell you is write good stuff. Write good stuff. If you write good stuff, then you'll probably be fine. That's what I started doing in the last 6 months, and it stopped. So I'm saying that also, that if somebody does end up watching this somehow, that you get a hand up, that you know what not to do, so that none of these things have to happen to any people. It was a very hard time for me, and I'm not blaming anyone, but I don't want anybody to have to go through that kind of stuff. Those are very hard things. So I love you, and I'm going to try to do a song another time. Because